Hi, I'm Jalen Rose, and welcome to the Renaissance Man podcast, proudly presented by the New York Post, a show where we cover trends in fashion, entertainment, current events, and everything in between. I've been doing this show less than 2 years, and I've had very few athletes actually on the show. The next gentleman is ultra VIP. My next guest not only is a Hall of Fame wide receiver, but he starred for my Detroit Lions. And I could talk to you about the Pro Bowls. I could talk to you about the major catches, but he's a philanthropist. He's a friend. It's my honor to welcome Megatron, Calvin Johnson, to the show.
Good to see you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks a lot, family. So I know your story, but I want to introduce the rest of the world to your story. So what was it like for you growing up in Newnan, Georgia?
Two parents, just going to work day in, day out. My mom, I seen her go from a flight attendant to a teacher to administrator in the school system. My dad worked for the railroad for 30 odd years, and it just really just seeing them go to work day in, day out for their 4 kids. I was the second of four. I got an older sister. It's myself, little brother, then a baby sister. And just watching how they poured into us, got us where we needed to be for us to be successful. That sacrifice, the sacrifice, the willingness to succeed, just that perseverance, all those qualities just really, it's hard to stray away from those things as I grew older.
What about like the education side? Because at some point, you became a terrific athlete, a terrific prospect, but you were also educated, went to college. So for you, what was it like being a student athlete in your middle school and high school days?
Oh, it was easy. And my mom said, I can't play ball, which I love to do. I just want to play and compete all the time. She said, you can't play ball if you don't keep above a C average. I'm like, dang, A's and B's? Okay, done deal. Enough said. Really, for me, just put the goal out there and I'm just going to work to attain it.
When did you realize that your athleticism and your love for football and sports, because I believe you played baseball as well, when did you know that sports is something that you wanted to consistently do?
I mean, when I was a kid, I always looked up to the great sports stars. When I was in Atlanta, we had the Braves winning the championship back in like 92 or 93. We had great players, Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones, I remember back Otis Nixon jumping on the wall, making those catches over the wall. I wanted to be that. I always aspired to be those greats. You got to see Michael Vick, in Atlanta, doing his thing, inspired to have that kind of greatness, And so when I got my chance, I just wanted to, like my dad always told me when I was a kid, whatever you do, put your best foot forward, put 100% in. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I try to do something, I do it to the best of my ability, day in and day out. And I think that's just, that's why we're here today.
You mentioned Vic, and he was a game changer at that position in more ways than one. Not only being a black QB to go number one, but at his height and in a city like Atlanta that's going to embrace it to the fullest. Now you look at the league, it's become more commonplace with shorter quarterbacks like a Kyler Murray, for example. But what was Atlanta like for those that don't know when Michael Vick was playing for the Falcons?
Man, you got to think, you went from, Falcons when they were like kind of getting there to the championship. You had the Dirty Bird going on, and then Vic come in town, and you got the best thing that the best talent that anybody really had seen in the game, really. At least in my era, this is the best thing you've ever seen, And we got to see this coming up. You saw it at Virginia Tech a little bit, but nobody knew that, and how everybody tries to play the black quarterback, how he got to go play receiver. He can't have success here at quarterback, even though, we see the likes of, Vic, the tallest guy, the Russell Wilson and the Kyler Murrays, now they are the tallest guys, just the knowledge of the game, and those guys, and then obviously the other assets they have, they can throw the ball, and then we all know they got wheels. So, it's just a great, combination of skill sets.
I have to ask you about the two guys you mentioned, because I can't front, Megatron. I'm taking it personal this offseason because I'm feeling like people questioning, is Russell Wilson elite? Should the Cardinals re-sign Kyler Murray and give him a bag? Like, what do you think about Russell now going to Denver first and foremost?
Man, it's a fresh start. And I like Russell. He seems like a great guy. I've been around Russell early on when he first started playing, and it seems like the same guy. Just put his hard hat on and go to work every day. And I think that fresh start, kind of like Matthew, man, just need to put. This is what it really got to have. When you have the certain pieces, you got to go all in. LA had certain pieces. They had, they had the defense locked down. They didn't have that quarterback they saw taking them to the next level. What they do, they went and put the rest of that team together, and in 1 year and won that same year. You seen what happened? They won the championship. It's just going all in when you have the chance to. Like you see the super teams in basketball. We can't necessarily do that in football, but you got to go and get those pieces and put them around the players when you have opportunity with the Kyler Murray, with the Seattle Seahawks when they had Russell. I mean, they had a great defense at first when they won the championship. They had all the pieces around, so you just got to be able to go all in. And if you think that you're going to do it in these leagues on a budget, it's going to take a long time.
Right, absolutely. And what do you think about like people questioning whether Kyler Murray is a franchise? I remember the Cardinals, and shout out to Kurt Warner. He took them to the Super Bowl, and Larry Fitzgerald, they balled. But like, I remember their best quarterback probably being Neil Lomax. And that was like when I was young. Like the Cardinals ain't had nothing. So to me, for them to have him, they should cherish him. What do you think about the situation that's happening between him and the team?
It's just, instant gratification. It's just the world we live in right now. The media presence and everybody having a voice that maybe shouldn't all have a voice. But it's just, there's no instant gratification coming. Yeah, they drafted him. They expect the championship in the next 2 years or 3 years. But unfortunately, the NFL doesn't work like that. You got to put those pieces around them. And, whatever team does, I love him as a quarterback because his ability to stick the pocket and keep his eyes downfield and make plays, So, I think you're tripping if you don't think you can build around him.
With all due respect to the quarterbacks we just mentioned, my brother Megatron was 6 foot tall in middle school. So did sticking out make you feel insecure, or did you embrace your size early on?
There was definitely insecurities there at first because, it was just awkwardness. I couldn't, my big old feet and I couldn't change directions like I wanted to and needed to in high school, let alone in college when I was still raw. I was raw when I got to the league. I had a great coach in Sean Jefferson that helped tame the beast a little bit. But yeah, man, it's definitely awkwardness when you start to stretch out.
Mm-hmm. So as you now see the boom in wide receiver salaries, there was so long that the quarterback got the big money, but the wide receiver kind of was looked at, could be a number one, we'll take care of you, but at some point, you're not going to get the money that the quarterback get. Now I'm seeing Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, getting the kind of money that elite level quarterbacks get. What do you think about that boom in that position for those salaries?
Man, I just have to say, a big part of that probably, as the revenue in the league goes up, the revenue for the players goes up. And if the receivers are making that, you best believe the QB's probably making 15 to 20 more.
Absolutely. True story. And as like you transition to the league, I have a Lions helmet over my shoulder. I thank you for your service to our team, to our city, to our franchise. To the rest of the world, you were Megatron, but to us, thank you for staying Calvin Johnson. So I must ask you, like, what was it initially like when you got drafted for the Lions? And what was some of your more notable games when you played for the team?
All right. Well, yeah, when I first got drafted to the Lions, man, it was weird. I came up to Detroit and, my first literally off the plane, we drove down 94 downtown and, we got to see all the blight, all the houses that have burned down. It was like, man, I wanted to go back home because I'm used to, I'm from the South.
For real.
I ain't never been real homesick. But, when I really got out and embraced the community and got to meet my teammates and know the people around the team, like I said, the community was huge. They're very supportive. I enjoy, living my adult life here. Now, that's why I'm still here today because I thoroughly enjoyed my time here in Michigan. But going to games, favorite games played, man. It's funny that Dallas was probably in 2 of those games. One time when I went
Mm.
Dallas and we beat them boys and we were trailing like big in the fourth quarter. And to do it away, I mean, to do it at somebody else's stadium, that's always the best to see to hear that quiet, the crowd go quiet. But when we were back at home and I had a 329 on them boys, it was more special. I got some family, some cousins and aunties and stuff like that are huge Dallas fans. And I have no idea because they only live in Texas. I don't know why, but they say it's America's team.
So as you consider to be not only a terrific player, but an all-pro, like the best in the game, a future Hall of Famer, what was it like for you playing for my hometown team? So I'm owning this. This is not Calvin speaking. This is Jalen Anthony Rose speaking. For a team that doesn't necessarily always invest in what we need to do, like the Rams just did, for example, as we saw Matthew leave, and shout to him, go get a championship. What was it like for you? Because when Barry retired, it hurt me. But I love him so much, I understood. Same thing for you. What was that like?
Yeah, it can be frustrating, when you see you're at a rebuilding time, especially when you're at a time point in your career where for myself, I speak for myself, when I'm thinking about hanging up the cleats. It's kind of tough to like sit there and realize like, dang, like we're really not gonna have a shot to take this thing to the next level. Yeah, we got the quarterback, but it takes more than just a quarterback and a great receiver. Yeah, they could be a huge part of it. But you got a lot of other pieces. You got a defensive line that was broken up, that need to be put back together. There's a lot of other pieces secondary. It's just a lot of pieces at the time for us, for me, myself personally, that, I was just at my wit's end,
So you were a part of one of the catches that changed a lot of rules and changed other rules back. Your touchdown catch that I saw you grab. I've seen you catch the ball with one hand multiple times and control it like a basketball. But for some strange reason, they said that was an incomplete pass. So now they go back and forth and change the rule. What do you recall about that play and how that rule has continued to evolve?
Yeah, it's crazy with the slow-mo cameras. They still can't get it right. But I remember that was a heartbreaking day, man. That was I feel like I'm not gonna say it set the tone for our season, but it didn't help. It started the season in a rough way when you get robbed of a touchdown. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I caught the ball, feet touched, my butt hit the ground forcibly, and I got the ball still in one hand. But it wasn't until I got up when I was going to celebrate, that the ball came out. And I put it on the ground. And so it was nuts. I was like, how do you not call it a touchdown when I hit the ground? I got it in one hand, and as I'm getting up, you let it go. And then they come back and say it should have been a touchdown. A couple of years later, I'm like, shoot, well, let me get that stat back there.
Exactly. And as someone that watched every snap that you've played and watched how you gave your blood, sweat, and tears to the city and to the team, there was a heartbreaking play that I saw take place. Everybody shows what happens on the field, but they don't show what you did. And I'm talking about the Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary. Nobody has ever asked you about this. Like, I really be watching. I just saw you drop to a knee and say, this can't be life. So remind me in the world of that play, what was going through your mind.
All right, let's go back to the week before, Thursday before the game. We always run, or Friday, whatever. We always run the situation where the other team has to do a Hail Mary. And I'm like, in that situation, I go back to the end zone as a safety. I'm going out on the field. And they pull me back. And they just like let the defense do it. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, all right. The boys don't know how to read that ball like that. I'm just saying the defense, the players, they don't track that ball like that. I'm just like, all right, it's Aaron Rodgers now. He can flick that thing 60 yards like that, and I'm just sitting here looking. I'm just like, no, they didn't just pull me off the field for this. I'm like, in my mind, I want to go get my stat. I want to get my interception. I'm like, I know it's coming.
Right. Right. Exactly. No doubt.
I'm like, nah, I'm going to get my interception.
But, 20 TDs, 5 INTs.
Bro, they pulled me off the field, and And when the ball went up in the air, I'm just like, mm-mm. I'm sitting there like, this is about to happen. They about to, and then when it happened, I just literally like somebody made the little meme with the Mario when you're going down a little tunnel thing, whatever the sound is. I just dropped to my knees because I'm like, that shouldn't have happened. We should have won this game. It's just like every NFL game is so much effort and work that goes into each one. To see a decision made like that could have easily been a different decision and had a different outcome. I mean, that's heartbreaking.
And you walked away on your own too, and I respected that. But I have to ask you, if there was a team you could have joined at the time, kind of like I just saw Odell Beckham do. See, the one thing about being a lifetime Lions fan, when Ndamukong Suh or Matthew Stafford, they go other places and win championships, like I root for them. I don't claim it as a Detroit championship, but I'm happy that they put on for the city. So if you could have gone and played for another team at the time, where would you have gone?
Oh, that's so tough, man. Ooh, dang, that's tough. I would have went to any team with a great quarterback. Any team with a great quarterback, I would have went to. I mean, at the time, I saw Aaron Rodgers so much at the time. I would have loved, and I loved the history behind Lambeau and just really just playing in the North Division. I loved everything about it, the toughness, the blue and black. But I don't know. Oh man, Aaron Rodgers is probably top of my list at the time. At the time, Aaron Rodgers was that guy. Who else? I mean, obviously Brady. But I just didn't have an opportunity to.
That would have been crazy to see you playing with Aaron Rodgers. But I gotta flip to something because you now represent Motown, and I'm so very proud. And you're from Georgia, which is considered the Motown of the South. So I have to ask you, with your parents and your siblings, like what music did you guys grow up listening to in the house and in the car?
Yeah, we grew up listening to obviously gospel, really spiritual background. My grandfather is a preacher, still a preacher today. But really big on R&B. My first album I ever had was a Jay-Z album. But Outkast was huge to us. I mean, that was big for the culture. Big Boy and Andre 3000. I feel like that was probably my favorite artist growing up. Outkast. Obviously, I loved everything about T.I. I got him on my pregame list. I got Jeezy on my pregame list. I mean, I could go on forever, but those guys while I was playing, before the game, I got my Jeezy and my T.I. on, just like getting in the mindset, the king-like mindset, about to go.
No doubt. No doubt. And so one of the things that I've discovered since coming to Atlanta in the early 90s for Freaknik is that Atlanta's the hub to me for strip clubs. So I have to ask, because you listen to gospel, you come up in a responsible parent household, but going to a strip club in Atlanta is normal. And it's like going to Waffle House. So I have to ask, like, what has there been any experiences at some point of your life enjoying the adult entertainment capital of Atlanta?
I've been to every single one that there is in Atlanta. I haven't been to a strip club in a while though. But yeah, back when I was playing, when I was a little younger, I was in the Onyx, the Magic City. What they call my dude's place, Platinum 21 before the name change.
No doubt.
So those, especially those three spots right there. Cheetah every now and then, because they had a good food, lobster and grits and stuff like that. But Onyx, Magic City, and Platinum, and then they got what's the spot called now?
Strokers.
Not even talking about been a stroker. That was a long time ago. That was in college. Goodness gracious. Over there on the east side, what's the spot called?
Not Pink Pony.
Been a Pink Pony. Oh man.
That's what I love about Atlanta. Like every day had a strip. It was like Pink Pony on Sunday, Onyx on Tuesday, Magic every day.
That's it. There's one for every day of the week, and it's a good one for every day of the week that you probably at other cities they're not even touching on Atlanta. So that is one thing about Atlanta. They do have some fun, I guess you say, adult entertainment options.
Absolutely. I've called it the capital. Speaking of dancing, you were on Dancing with the Stars. You finished third. What was that experience like getting your twinkle toes on?
It was you know, if you asked me to do it again, I'll probably say no because I didn't know how much work went into it. But like I told you earlier,
Mm.
whatever I'm gonna do, I'm gonna work my tail off at doing. So I had that
Uh-huh.
stood true there too, So the only reason I made it to the finals though, I was going to quit the show because my ankles were swelling up so bad. And that's when I had my buddy had brought me some topicals. I wasn't really experienced in using topicals, but it got the swelling to go away right away. And that's kind of the turning point for me when I really wanted to learn a lot more about cannabis when I actually use it in that different application. But ever since then, I mean, that dancing show, man, hell of an experience. Got to meet some great people along the way. Got to kick it a whole bunch of time and spend a lot of time in LA. So that was great.
Mm-hmm.
But an experience like no other because, I mean, you're performing live every week. It's like kind of like football. Everything you practice during the week, you get to show it off on Mondays. And whether it's 36 seconds or 2 minutes long, it's really you out there performing in front of everybody, and it was a hell of an experience.
And you brought up pain, and whether it's that or anxiety, there's medical cannabis that we now can turn to. There were times in our lives where that was considered taboo. You used to get suspended for that. You used to get punished for that. You would get vilified for that. And I want to shout you out for your 6-figure donation as well to the Medical Cannabis Institute at Harvard. So for you, what is it like to see how cannabis was viewed as a player and the change that you're trying to help make happen right now?
Yeah, our focus in these areas are, pain and mental and cognitive issues. And both of those, or when you're talking about cannabis and you're talking about mental issues, both of those things are stigmatized. And there's really, now more and more education is allowing us to be like, oh, okay, everybody, I mean, everywhere, we all know somebody that's dealing with mental issues, and it's teaching us to have how to have more empathy around that. And even the same thing with cannabis. Not until you really hear about the story in a different application, and I mean by that is, not necessarily a recreational or adult use. You hear about it from somebody's real medical use where a cancer patient, an elderly cancer patient with 2 or 3 stage cancer, and they're in remission now because they've been using the RSO, and the cannabinoids there have been helping them. Or you hear the story of the kid, someone with epilepsy or the one with seizures, where they used to have 30 seizures a day, now they might have 1 because of the cannabis oil they're using. And these are real stories that I have, that I've been privileged to being a part of. Even just last week, when we were at a council meeting for a city, we get to hear these stories when they're trying to plead their case, like, please, we need this in our community because it's helping so many people. And it's really just those kind of stories, not necessarily, the recreational use, I just want to go smoke my blunt or my split. Right. But when you think about it, those people even when we use it recreationally, there's still a medicinal benefit that we're seeking from that medicine. So it is still a medicinal benefit that we're trying to receive. So, in every sense of it is medicine. And I just wish that, you really just got to understand more about how it interacts with our body. I think a big part of that is just really understanding how we have an endocannabinoid system, the interior cannabinoid system, and we can really, if we really learn how it interacts with our body, I think that will change some minds. I have my mom. We're from the Bible Belt down there in Georgia, and everybody, being black and being from that area, we're obviously demonized or go straight to jail for that. And you have a little, but you're spending a lot of time in the pen. So. And they've seen that for their whole generation and the generation before. So it's a reason why it's stigmatized so harshly, because it's just a way of life. It's a way of life because it's a Schedule I drug here in America. So until we're able to do research and really understand some of these benefits that these institutes are doing, now we're able to see, oh, there's something here. Now the lid is coming off. Now there's a snowball effect. And more states are starting to legalize this thing. And there's a reason because it's helping folks. And 2, it's bringing a lot of these cities a lot of tax money too.
Correct. Exactly. And that for an athlete reminds me of something: name, image, and likeness. And then when I was a player, a member of the Fab Five, I did take it personal. You went to Georgia Tech, you starred, your jersey was sold, you signed helmets, but like we didn't profit off of that. Now that athletes have the opportunity to do that, Nick Saban of the Alabama Crimson Tide has the nerve to call a pot calling the kettle black, right? So now all of a sudden, when A&M can recruit people and use the tool to help them get bread and help them increase their likeness, he cries foul. And also he hating on Jackson State in prime time. So what did you think when you saw Nick Saban's comments about the name, image, and likeness?
Yeah, I see it as an opportunity, as long as it's done right, for a lot of players to really help their people, man. I mean, you're living in a society where there's a top like 1 or 2% that have it and the rest don't. So a lot of people coming up, that coming up through school and getting these scholarships and able to get these deals. I mean, a lot of the majority of these people don't have the means to do a lot for their family at the age. And a lot of them might not have the opportunity to make it to the NFL, which is a very small percentage then. So I think that having the opportunity to bring something to their family, I think it's a good thing as long as it's done right, because I hate to see in college the haves and have-nots. Maybe you have one guy that can have this huge deal, but he's the only guy on the team. That creates I feel like that can create a cancerous environment. But I mean that's really, I feel like those deals are really just between the player and whatever company they do. So I mean that's just the way it is. I just hate for the have-nots to. I just wish there's a better way for it to go all around. For all the players to be able to help each other out. And yeah, those that are bringing the big majority of it should be able to have that. Should be able to have a good grand majority of it. But I just don't want that situation for the have and have not, because I've seen it in culture, in my work culture too. That that can create a rift in your system.
And lastly, before I get into the Gone in 60 Seconds, and again, I thank you, Megatron, for joining me. Please let everyone know about the entrepreneur spirit that you've not only adopted while you were playing and your philanthropic things that you do in so many different communities, but also the things that you're doing right now business-wise.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would say I started in 2008 with my foundation, my Calvin Johnson Jr. Foundation. The motto is catching dreams. We're just trying to put kids in a situation, one, where they can meet people in places that they want to be at, and provide scholarships. And we do a whole bunch of things in the community, from camps to conferences and whatnot. Went on to start a cannabis company here in Michigan with Rob Sims, and we're a vertically integrated company. The focus is really just highlighting the healing powers of the plant and creating new innovative applications for folks here in the near future. And with that, we're going to be bringing out a new company called Primitive Performance, where we're using a new nanotechnology emulsion, where basically, if you imagine the cannabis particle in the smallest size. And the reason for this is because it just makes it more bioavailable or more efficient for the user. And in turn, maybe taking where that edible used to hit you in like 45 minutes to an hour, you have something that's going to hit you in 5 to 15 minutes. And that's only because this particle size it is able to bypass the intestinal tract and go right into the bloodstream and go right to work. In our time that we were able to visit with Harvard, they're talking about using drones and nanotechnology targeted medicine. And I didn't get it, but it makes sense now, because these drones are so, like I said, they're so small, they're able to bypass your intestinal tract and get right into the bloodstream, and in turn, allowing your endocannabinoid system to recognize the medicine that it has in it and allow it to go to work where it needs to go to work. So, it's so much untapped science here. And I'm learning more and more every day that I'm in this industry. So it's just a blessing, and we're fortunate to be a part of it.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you joining me. And shout out to Rob Sims, another great Detroit Lion, my guy, giving back to the city. But before I let you get out of here, I have a rapid fire segment called Gone in 60 Seconds. You ready to do this? So I know Matthew Stafford was the greatest quarterback that you played with in Detroit. Who was the second best?
Ooh, Sean Hill. I love Sean Hill.
Name your favorite NFL player of all time.
Ooh, that's so tough. Oh, bro, why you do that to me? Say Randy. I'm gonna go with Randy Moss.
Ooh, he got mossed. What is your favorite strand to smoke?
I'm an OG guy. You give me a good, just old classic OG from the West Coast, I'm happy.
When you smoking that OG, what is your favorite music to listen to?
Dang. Probably some Kendrick Lamar. I haven't even heard the new one all the way yet, but yeah, probably some West Coast vibes. West Coast vibes.
I got to study the new Kendrick too. And speaking of West Coast vibes or artists in general, who's your favorite artist that makes the best songs about smoking?
Oh. You stumped me on that one, man. My playlist doesn't have one particular artist. I got a lot of Alchemists on my new playlist. You stumped me on that one. Damn, I can't look at my playlist here. What, man? Damn, you stumped me.
Yeah. There's so many. I'll start naming some for you. You got Wiz, you got Snoop, you got Red, you got Meth, you got Dre.
I mean, all those on the playlist, but I mean, all right. So when Wiz came out with his first, album, his first couple of albums, that was some great smoking music. That was some really good.
Exactly. There we go. What time at any point of your career do you remember catching the ball or about to catch the ball and somebody hit you the hardest? Who was that?
Oh yeah, we're playing the Reds, watching the Redskins, and dang, what's his name? Linebacker. Dang, what's his name? Little dude, but solid as a rock. Anyways, I'm running a little crossing pattern 5 yards deep. And this is the hardest I ever been hit in my life. I remember catching the ball. I knew he was going to be there, but I didn't expect a hit like this. He hit me, and he knocked me 5 yards the other way probably before I hit the ground. So I remember that hit through and through. I feel it in my body right now.
Was it London Fletcher?
London freaking Fletcher. That is it. Dang, London Fletcher. Yeah, boy, he rocked my soul on that one.
This is why you got fans watching your back. And brothers looking out for you. I even know the name of the license plate of the guy that hit you, and you don't know it because you Megatron. I appreciate you, family. Thank you for joining me.
Great to see you, man.